Hi, everyone. I thought I'd do a quick video today on Peniscola, Valencia, where we spent about a week just a little while ago, and we got back like 3 or 4 days ago. And it was a great trip. There was a lot of sun and fun, and it was a very relaxing trip and a way to kind of get back slowly into going outside after the lockdown. Peniscola is about 2 hours by train, and it is a very populous place for Spanish people to holiday. It's got some foreigners coming in the summertime, but it's mostly a place where Spanish people go for their holidays away from the touristy places like Benidorm and Cadiz and all these other places. So I'm going to share my thoughts about like if it's a place that you want to retire to or come spend your time. The population of, no, before I actually start, I just want to have a disclaimer here that this is how I personally feel and this is what I felt when I was there. So it's not like a one size fits all for everyone because I know there was another seaside place that we had visited hoping to move to when we lived in Sevilla. We actually thought about moving to Cullera, which is another province, which is another place in Valencia. And when I wrote the blog post about that, even till today, I see on some expat sites, some people were not happy about what I wrote and they felt that, coming from America, I was too, I don't know, it goes on and on. Anyway, they were not, everybody wasn't happy, and they wanted me to like say, well, you just didn't try the pueblo, you stayed in the touristy area, and so you couldn't say, and you were only there for a few days, so how could you tell? And my thing was like, well, I was coming from Sevilla, I had been living in Spain for a long time, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't need to spend a couple of weeks there to know how I felt. So I was living in a pueblo, and if I wanted to live in another pueblo, I would have stayed in Sevilla. I wouldn't have come, looking for a place that had the sea close to it. But anyway, my feelings about Peniscola is sort of the same thing in that while it's a great place to go on vacation, I don't think for anybody who's from the US or, from big cities would like to spend their time there year round. The population is only about 8,000 that, people that live there on the regular. And so it gets really hard. I think you will be bored. I think boredom will probably be the biggest thing there because it's not a place that's open year round. The restaurants, the bars, the cafes for breakfast and stuff, they all shut down after the summer ends. So I think it will be really tough. I had friends that went there in January and they couldn't find anything to do. And you can't get in the water because it's so cold. And so all the stores are closed. And you can go like in the back away from the seaside and, live among the people. But I think if you're not Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, you have a really hard time adjusting because I think you're just um, deluded if you think that you can move there without having Spanish in your back pocket. If you don't speak Spanish, I think you'll be, in a really tough situation. The second thing I noticed is like Peniscola doesn't have a hospital per se. They have a centro de salud, which is like a clinic, and it was a big one. I saw it, and it's quite close to the touristy area actually. But I think if you needed a hospital, they would have to take you somewhere close, Castellon, Valencia, or uh, Binaros, which is close to there. Those are the places that have hospitals. So if you have health problems or you think you may have health problems down the line, it may not be the place that you want to go. And and I'm sure, just like Cullera, I think like the big consume supermarket that was there that we saw, I would think that we shut down because that would be the only place open around there, because basically it's all a bunch of hotels, a bunch of apartments. So the rent will be good. I mean, for like 9 months. But like, there's a lot of places like in Portugal and Spain that we saw when we're looking, where even though it's illegal to rent for less than a year, most people want to rent to you for only 9 months. And that 9 months is to cover themselves in the summertime, because they're open to leaving the place empty, completely empty for for 9 months, because the money they make from the 3 months of summer is more than enough. I mean, it commands thousands for a small apartment of holiday, from holiday makers. So to them, it's worth keeping it closed. So they will rent you for 9 months, and which means you would have to find someplace else to live for 3 months. And finding one that will lease to you for a year will be really hard. And the other thing is, when you're doing your paperwork and you get here and you're trying to get your empadro, you need to show them a lease for 1 year. A 9 month is not going to cut it. So you won't be able to get your papers. So I think for that reason, you cannot live there year round. I think the boredom will get to you, because you would probably be coming to Valencia on the regular just to try and get some interaction or to find things to do. The castle is really nice, but I don't even know, but I would think they would shut down in the wintertime as well. But the prices for the food, because once again it's geared toward the tourists, the prices were really kind of on the high side. And it's like, oh, have lunch for 2 people for like 60 euros, which is a lot, because you think like in Valencia you can have lunch menu al dia for 10 to 13 euros, which will cover a glass of wine, the appetizer, the main, the dessert, and a coffee. And so, you know, apples to apples, it's a little bit expensive, that I feel. So I don't think it's someplace that I would consider to live year round. If you love the beach, though, it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm thinking, you may be able to stretch the 3 months of summer into like 5 before it gets maybe too cold to go into the water, sort of like Valencia. Uh, So if you like that, and if you hate seafood, you definitely don't want to live there, because all the restaurants, basically, like I would say 95% of the restaurants were all seafood. So if you love your fish, your octopus, you will be in heaven. But if you don't, there was one Indian restaurant that we had really great food at, but there's very little selection. Is one a seafood place after the next after the next. So they've got people trying to catch you. And so, like I said, if you like seafood, you'll be in heaven. If you don't, you'll be in hell. But you could always get stuff at the grocery store and cook it yourself. But I don't think that's a good option for a lot of people. The castle itself was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if there are a lot of Game of Thrones fans there, but they filmed one season there at the castle, and it's lovely. The view is fantastic, and the the train station is not really in the city. It's actually in a little smaller place about 6 or 7 kilometers away. So there's no direct There's no direct train station there, or bus station. So it's kind of a little bit hard. It would be a little hard if you live there unless you had a car. You wouldn't be able to get to the airport. You would have to basically come to Valencia and then go to the Valencia airport, or go to Alicante uh, and go to their airport there. So there's all these things to consider. I think on the whole, I don't think it's a place to consider if you're planning on moving here, sort of like I felt about Cullera. I think they're great for the sun and the fun, but as far as living there on the year round, especially if you don't speak Spanish, I think it would be a tough, uh, a tough situation to deal with. I may not be a great introduction to Spanish life because they'll probably have you hating it, and then you become one of those people that says that it's just hard. I can't deal with it, and I just need to move away, and it might ruin your experience. So that's what I feel about that. And at this point, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to make this too long. I just want you to know what I feel about Peniscola. But there are places like this, a lot of them in and around Valencia. And as we travel more, we're going to do more of traveling around the city and the country because our plans have sort of changed. We had been planning to go home and visit my folks, but it's not looking good at this point because they still have a quarantine, even with the vaccination, and the visa costs have tripled. So for him, it's just insane. I don't want to pay 330 euros dollars for a visa for like 2 weeks, and it's just anyway. Plus, then having to quarantine and all these other things. So our plans are sort of evolving. So we're watching what happens there before we make any decisions. So hope things are good on your end. And thank you again for watching this video. You can like and subscribe if you like, if you like it. If you don't like it, you can put a thumbs down and I'll hate you forever, but don't think about it. Okay, thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.